Okay, we are live.
Awesome. So this is Dirt Rally 2, successor to Dirt Rally 1, believe it or not. Um, yeah, this is rallying, pretty self-explanatory if you know what it is. So for those who don't follow racing at all, it's essentially you take a car, you go in the woods, and you drive real fast on roads that you really shouldn't be driving real fast on. By the way, hopefully the timer hasn't started yet. If you did start it, like, put it back. So what the quote-unquote run of this game is essentially you take a location, you put all the stages in a row, and you give her, see how fast you can get through it. So before the run starts, you get into the service area, so you're able to fart around with your car a little bit. All we're going to do is put on soft tires. Soft tires give the most grip, but they wear out the quickest, so you kind of try to route your stage service centers, whatever you want to call them, in a way to maximize the tire. So as soon as I hit start, I'll count down from 3, and on go, hit the timer. All right, so 3, 2, 1, go. Here we go, stage 1. Because this run is RTA, we're going to be jumping every single start. I kind of wish it was in game time, but I'm also not the guy who runs the leaderboards for this game, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. So as soon as the engine starts revving, it'll let us go. You get like a little period of like you can't really do anything with the car for whatever reason. I don't really agree with it, but whatever. I'm not just going to make the game fucking start. I don't have that power. So the shtick with rallying is that, you know, if you ever drove on a gravel road, it doesn't really, like, handle great. If you try to go fast, especially in, like, inclement weather, it's pretty dangerous. So I figured with the theme of this marathon being all black and white and stuff, let's drive an old car. Group B specifically, the deal with these was that in, like, the mid-'80s, they thought it was a good idea to get these lightweight vehicles, stick an absurd amount of power in them, put big old turbochargers, whatever makes the car go fast, and let her rip. Handling, though, kind of an afterthought. So all these things really do is kind of just go fast in a straight line. Stopping is an afterthought, turning is an afterthought, and I'm just going to have to deal with that right now. Forgive if the commentary is a little bit sporadic, but all of the people that I play this game with are in a different time zone than me, so for them it's like not good for commentary. If anybody wants to commentate, by the way, hit up the NASA Discord and just, you know, hop on in. If you think you can give me a hand with this, because as you can see, I'm a little preoccupied right now. These, by the way, the left side of me, you see how the dirt kind of just cuts off, and there's like a bit of a ridge there. That is deadly, especially on these stages. I put this stage first because it's basically the one I'm gonna fuck up. There's a really fast section coming up, and you basically gotta drive right up to that wall, and if you clip it, you spin. It's not, you're not gonna win. It's all or nothing. So hopefully we don't die. So yeah, deal with these vehicles, like I said. Lots of power, no ability to turn. And what makes them extra treacherous is that because they're old, the turbochargers are also old. This is kind of like the beginning of putting turbochargers in race cars. I guess the 80s was kind of like known for that. And they have a bit of a lag to it. The way a turbocharger works is that it just picks up air. Like the car drives, right, and air flows over it. So turbocharger will pick up said air and feed it back into the engine. If you have more air in your engine, you essentially have more power, to put it simply. And these turbochargers kind of take a little while to spool up and actually deliver the power. So there'll be a point where I'm going to floor it, and there'll be like a second or two before the car actually like gives you that sensation of acceleration. And without that turbocharger, these cars are actually pretty crappy. They just feel really sluggish, you know, heavy, like an old car, you know. And then when this turbo kicks in, then you start moving. So you can see here, there's lots of turns. It's really bumpy, so when this turbo kind of kicks in, you kind of want it to kick in at a very specific time, but you don't really have a lot of control. Well, you can control it. You see, that's what I mean. Those walls are just real bad. And I was going pretty slow there, and it spun me. So imagine if I was on that long straight and I hit it, I'd be like flipping in the air, doing a bunch of gymnastics. So essentially, you just got to be very careful when you decide to hit the gas, and at the same time, be in a low enough gear so that the power band where the turbo is being, you know, activated, it's always there. So a lot of these, you got all these long straights on this stage, and we're going to get to a section in this rally where the stages are very flowing. There'll be a lot of like mid-speed corners and a lot of low-speed corners, and in order to go fast you need to be able to control your throttle well enough so that you're always in this power band, and it's it's probably the most important in these cars out of all the cars in the game because of this like turbo situation. Another thing with this game, added in from Dirt Rally 1, is stage degradation. So this, I think Richard Burns Rally is another game that does it, although I didn't play that game enough to really know for sure. But in an actual rally, you got like different classes of cars and a lot of drivers doing their own thing in their own little groups of vehicles. So you got like 150, 200 cars, you know, give or take, in a rally. So and this is only dirt roads we're on, which means as cars pass, the road gets more rutted, and it affects the characteristics on how the cars run. I think, I don't even know where they put me, but there's an option to make the stage degradation optimal. And to be completely honest with you guys, I have no idea if that really makes it faster or not. You can choose so that you're the first car on the road, and you can choose that you're like the last. So I know if you're the last, especially on this specific rally, with the way the roads bank, it's not too great to have rutted roads, because as soon as you miss your line, you're dead. If you get a little too wide in a turn where you're outside of the ruts, you push to the outside very bad. That's called understeer. You understeer, not fun, and you're going to be in a tree. So I think optimal actually does what it entails. You can see that there's a bit of tracks on the road, enough to sort of guide you, but not enough to like yank your car around. You know, if it's too rutted, then you almost have no control on really where you go. If the other drivers have a crappy line, well, that's just where you're going. Another thing is, rallying is a team sport. You can't do this by yourself. I mean, you can, but you're gonna die most likely. You got a co-driver talking a bunch of random crap. You got all these little symbols on screen. I have them, I usually like to keep them off, but for the sake of this run I have them on because, one, I'm talking and I'm not listening to the co-driver as much as I really should be. And this game has some really interesting bugs, as in you would think that there was no like quality assurance testing whatsoever. The co-driver will just straight up just not tell you where to go sometimes, which is very annoying. So you kind of have to have those up until they decide to fix their audio, especially in multiplayer. Multiplayer, he doesn't say like half the shit, so that's unfortunate. But these are essentially directions. It'll tell you about 2 or 3 corners ahead, depending on where you are. Oh, we could have flipped there. And basically lets you know how much you should be braking for turns, what's coming up next, so you can kind of plan what you're going to do, because you obviously want to chain these corners together. Like I said, oh, nice little 360 there. You got this turbo lag situation, so if you kind of know what's happening ahead of time, that would help you in, you know, entering one turn in order to take the next as fast as possible. With all the chatting I'm doing, I'm actually like pretty happy with my performance right now. Normally on a racetrack, you don't want to be sliding as much as I'm doing now, but because we're on dirt, a loose surface, you kinda don't really have a choice, I want to say. I mean, you can drive slow enough so that your car doesn't drift through the turns, But in order to retain traction and not do that, you just be going so slow that it ends up being faster to just slide a lot of the time. And sliding the car is also a means of stopping the car as well. You have the sidewalls of the tire pushing against the road. You can't really threshold brake like you can on pavement either. You have to be a lot easier on the brakes, so that's where the sliding also comes into play. It slows you down as you take the turn, so that once you hit the apex, you could probably, well, I say probably, you should have the car pointed in the right direction to, you know, continue. So, the fundamentals of racing is exactly the same on dirt as it is on pavement. It's just a different means to get there, if that makes any sense. No, that's okay, Badoshka. If you join the NASA Discord, I told Buddy to let you in on the voice if you still want to do this. So go have your coffee or whatever. Eat your food. We got like an hour 20 left of this. I've only done one stage, so like you got time. You just show up whenever.
3 left long and 5 right long. Good luck. 5, 30, crest and 3 left.
Now jumping the start gives you a 10-second penalty. But since this is timed RTA, that doesn't matter right now. I think the logic behind it was that what if you like find some sort of way to skip stages, which to me doesn't make too much sense because you go into like the quick play mode and you set it up yourself. So you're essentially like removing parts of the game that you put there. Uh-oh. Don't go too fast or else you end up in the fence. Now I got a cracked windshield. I hate cracked windshields, dude. It's so distracting. Oh, shit. Anyways, I'm not going to talk about why this game should be timed in-game. Because I signed up to do this run, so I got to play by the rules. What else is there? I'll think of other stuff to say. But right now, I think I've covered the basics. You can kind of see what's going on here. Cars sliding around everywhere. We're all having a good time. I really want to watch this over afterwards. I'm quite interested to see what this game looks like with a fucking hammer pointed at a black and white TV. So, the stages in this game are essentially, there's like 6 stages and then the reverse of those 6. Which kind of blows, but it also I can handle it just because there isn't enough road that would exist if every single stage was like radically different. So totally makes sense. How a rally actually works is you do your stages and then you like gotta drive like a fair amount of distance. Ooh, can we power out of this? No, I've binned it. Also, another downside to RTAs, things like that don't matter. That would give you like a time penalty because you got to dig your car out of the woods, but here you just, you know, recover and away you go. As I was saying, you got to like drive to each stage, right? Like part of the rally is to do your stage and then have your car, you know, be in enough pieces to drive to the next one, and so on and so forth, and survive the rally that way. So if all the stages were different, you would just run out of road. So this stage right here is just the reverse of what I just did. Like I said, my personal troubled stage because of these long straight sections. Going fast in this car, driving a straight line is honestly the hardest part of this car. Because the road will subtly turn and twist and do its thing, and any little input in this, it's like you're driving a boat. See? Just a little too fast in the corner. I'm off to the outside. The grass pulls me away, and now I'm like perpendicular to where I need to be going, so hopefully you guys get an idea. It's a very hard thing to explain if you don't actually play it yourself, to describe like how a race car drives. It's definitely one of those types of games where if you haven't played it before, I highly encourage you to at least try it. Even with like a controller or something, it'll give you an idea of what's going on. It's a little more than just like driving in circles over and over again. Although I get how it be like that sometimes. Although in this case we're driving in a line. A fancy squiggly line. New Zealand is probably one of my favorite locations so far in this game. One of my favorite rallies to watch anyways. A lot of bank turns everywhere, so you can go a lot faster than what's normally perceived. Although I'm not really doing it now because I'm trying to keep it safe. This is definitely one of those cars where if you keep it too safe, you kind of screw yourself even harder because you don't have the momentum to get around the corners. Here's a hard spot. This 6 left is very deceiving. It goes into that grass there. See, a little too quick, but I didn't fucking nail the fence, so that's good. Yeah, you turn left and then right on the outside, and the car likes to understeer there. You hit your rear tire, your rear passenger on that little hump of grass. If you go too fast, you flip. But usually what happens is what kind of happened there, where I'll just hit it a little bit, get a bit disoriented, and then you're immediately on the brakes for that tight left hand 90-degree turn. That small cut 5 left is quite a small cut. Oof. Wow, I got really lucky there. That's more like a 4. I always fall for that. I go too fast. But what usually happens is I'll go for the cut, and there's like a rock there or something hidden in the grass. And that's where you flip. That's where you do like 17 rolls, and you kind of just sit there, and you gotta wait while the car dies, and you get like fucking motion sickness. That stuff's fun in VR, where you just yeet off a rock, and you gotta like just twiddle your thumbs for a couple of minutes while your car kind of gets owned by gravity. I'm glad that worked out, and I was able to just drive up on the wall and turn around. All right. Ooh, good save, good save. A nice thing about this car is that because of like the sudden power delivery it has, you don't really need to use the handbrake very much. There's kind of like one less button to worry about. We're able to just smash the gas, and then eventually the car will spin itself around. Look away from the wall. Ooh, that was pretty close. Saved. Nice.
Into 5 right long. Into 4 left. And keep right of a crest. Turn 2 left long tightens. Into 2 right.
Nice. Trees clipping through the ground. Good game.
Right. Into 3 left. And keep right. Into 6 left. 30.
So hopefully you've noticed that the numbers that dictate each turn correlates to the sharpness of the turn. So a 3 would be a sharper turn than a 6. Usually, depending on the co-driver and driver combination, everybody kind of does their notes a little bit differently, but there is like a universal way, like the simple one word for each I guess attribute of the corner. So the direction and the severity. And then you'll hear things like don't cut or rock outside. Don't cut being to not cut the corner. And they'll say cut as in you go onto the grass and you just go off of the road in order to take the corner faster. I've been way too high of a gear. Ooh, let's go. Nice. A little bit of an improvised route. See, I just tap the grass a little bit and it just sucks me out. So, not all the time. You would think, oh, well, in that case, I might as well just fucking drive straight. But that's an example right there. That the dirt is where the grip is. These tires are designed to be on dirt, not on grass. Grass is essentially like ice. So, cutting corners all the time is risky business. So, if you cut without the co-driver saying cut, you're taking that risk that there's something hidden in there. And don't get me wrong, it does work out half of the time. But the other half, you're in for a treat.
4 right long, into 4 left.
And a bit of a downside to a rally game is that you can just play it enough and kind of memorize all of the stages.
3 left long.
I mean, there's nothing you can really do about that. It is a video game after all. But I find like the way around that are pace notes that aren't exactly accurate. Which is reasonable because you gotta kind of have a one-size-fits-all. There's plenty of corners where I would have my co-driver say something else. And my notes would not be the same as yours. It would be, you know, similar. But not the same. Now here's an example of why I like New Zealand. You'll see it a lot in this stage. But I was talking about banked turns earlier. If a turn is banked, think of NASCAR, right? These cars are able to go 200 plus miles an hour because of the centrifugal force of the track. You know, big bank turns, you can, for all intents and purposes, I know this isn't true, but you can just floor it, right?
Start flat crest,
or very close to floor it.
and don't cut, 3 right
And this
long
is sort of the
tightens,
same concept.
into
All of
3
these
left over
turns
crest, long tightens,
lean in towards the
Good luck.
direction they're going.
5,
So it's very
crest 30, crest and
It's very
don't cut,
fun
3 right long tightens,
because you can
into
go
3
a
left
lot
over crest,
faster
long
in the turns
tightens,
than normal.
30, 3 right long,
Oof,
tightens over
I didn't even
crest,
see that.
30,
Just a bump in the grass. See, I tried to cut there, and I paid for it. I say bump in the grass, it was just the dirt on the side of the road, like a big mound.
don't cut, open hairpin left.
This is a scary hairpin. There's literally nothing on each side of the track,
To
as
keep
I
middle
brake
of
too
crest,
much and almost fall into the
into 6
ravine
left,
anyways.
into 2 right long, tightens, don't cut. Opens, into cut, 5
Very
left,
important you stay in these grooves as well. Or sorry, the bank. You didn't see it much there, but there was a bit of a bank.
into 6 right
And I
long,
would have been able to take that turn a lot more easily. And the ruts as well.
4 left long,
If you're
tightens,
the
3,
first on the road, you do what is
4
known
right
as
long,
road sweeping,
opens,
which is essentially pushing all of the loose gravel out of the way. If it's a sunny and dry stage like this one,
into 5 right,
and
slow 30,
depending
open
on
left,
what country you're in, I suppose, you know what kind of like geographical attributes the roads has, you know, the environment around you, how they make the roads.
30,
But like 9 out of 10 gravel rallies, if you're first on the road and it's sunny and dry, you're gonna have a bad time.
slow, 2
It's
right
gonna be so
tightens,
slippery.
into 1 left,
You're essentially just kind of fighting the car for the day, or at least until the road order changes.
don't cut,
That's usually
open hairpin left,
the if you're winning a championship on the or on the beginning of the rally, then the Friday
30,
you're screwed.
2 right long tightens,
you're first on the road.
4 left
You
over
got to
crest,
sweep everybody else, and they will go faster than you. But the road order, I believe, reverses on the Saturday, so that gives you an opportunity to
4 left,
claw back your time, which I think adds a cool dynamic. You know, everybody knows that road order is important. It's like
opens,
it can be, I guess, unfair when it comes to weather. See, there you go, the dirt on the side, catching me again.
into 4 left,
That was a noob mistake, though. That was pretty bad. Ignore the sound,
open hairpin left,
because for whatever reason, they make like weird engine noises, and then like nothing comes of it. I've never had a breakdown
30,
in any of the dirt games.
4 left,
For all I know, this could be the first game to incorporate it, but it hasn't happened yet, so I can assume that it won't. You can damage your car enough so that,
into 6
you know,
right,
you lose like half of your power,
50,
but you'll never break down, which is kind of a bummer.
tightens, into 3 left,
So this is an example of needing to modulate your throttle in order to take advantage of the turbo
2 right
and to be able to actually have, you know, any semblance of speed and momentum.
opens, 6 left, into 4 right tightens,
Even in first gear, if I'm pinning it and
into
it's
5 left,
jumping on the red line,
1,
you know, that'd be much faster than being in second gear and then just kind of taking the corner easy.
gate,
You know, the car would be understeering a lot.
tightens,
I would have a very hard time to just take the turn in general.
into 4 right,
This is like the only form of racing where drifting is fast,
into 5 right,
which, you know, makes sense because, like I said, loose gravel, you have to
30,
adapt to that essentially.
5
Ooh,
left,
I didn't even know
into
that was
2
there.
right long,
I hit a plant.
1 tightens,
No GPS in these cars, man. If I
into
go too far off the road, I gotta find my way back the old-fashioned way. Pull out the map, boys. Get the fucking chainsaw out, cut down this tree so I can fucking get out of here.
3 right long. Into 5 left and 3 right long. Tightens over crest.
And this is where, you know, modern rally cars with like half of the power that these had are much faster because of, you know, modern suspension and aerodynamics and all this other shit.
Left. Into 2 right tightens.
These cars killed a bunch of people, so they're like, you know what, let's not drive these anymore.
Open hairpin left.
Even though half the problem was like, you'd have spectators like
30.
a quarter of the way on the road,
6 left
and you
over
would be
crest, 30.
driving down this little alley of people. So if you made a mistake, you'd probably take out like 50 dudes.
Into 5 left.
See, that's an example of being in too high of a gear. I thought I was in first there,
30.
so I was wondering where the heck my power went.
Over crest into
I was
1
in
left.
second, so the turbocharger wasn't really doing anything, and I was kind of just like dragging this hunk of metal with just the engine, which is not enough.
2 right. Tightens 1. Into 5 left. Opens over crest.
A little too early there.
Cut. 2 right tightens. 2 left. Into 3 right. 30.
But once you get a good rhythm in these sections, you can make up so much time in these
Into
things.
5 left.
It's, you gotta have the balls to hit the gas and not hit the wall,
Into 1 left.
as well as
Into 3
really
right
good,
tightens.
a really good right foot,
Into 3 left.
or I guess a really good right hand if you use a controller.
Into
I got
2
a wheel.
left.
We're wheeling it today.
Into 5 right.
This game's pretty good
Into 4 left.
with regards to wheel compatibility. You can have basically any type of steering wheel, high end, low end,
Over crest.
somewhere in the
Into 2
middle,
left.
and be able to play this game.
Into open hairpin right.
And that's a sign of a good sim, that you can just plug in whatever wheel you want
Into
and
6 left over crest.
be able to handle it. See, there we go. I was in first gear there. Much easier to get the back end out
Into 3 left
and point my
long.
car.
Tightens open hairpin left.
That's the deal with these
Opens.
Group B cars, is that in the wavy sections here, you just got to get through it.
4 left long. Into don't cut 4 right.
You're kind of just waiting for the straight where you can hit some insane speeds. These are definitely like the fastest in a straight line,
2 right long.
than like a modern rally car.
Into 6
Well,
left
maybe
long.
not today anymore.
Crest,
I don't know
right.
anymore, actually.
3 right tightens.
But for a very long time at least.
And 2 right tightens. Into 6 left
Also,
long.
chat's probably going off. I've been reading none of it.
Left don't cut.
I got enough going on, so apologies.
Into 4
I'll try to
right
read
long.
what I've missed on the next loading screen if I
2
remember.
right long tightens over crest. Into 2 left tightens. Into 2 right tightens.
And forgive my raspy voice, but I just woke up,
Into 3
so
left.
nothing I can really do other than be awake.
4 right long tightens 3.
I'm trying, lads.
Opens over
I'm as
crest.
awake
Into
as I
5
can be.
left. Into 1 right tightens. Into don't cut.
Oh, there's a car on the side of the road. There'll be like random events where
2 left tightens.
you'll have like camera drones in random places and like
Right long.
rally cars that have crashed. So if you see a bunch of marshals like waving their hands, you know that you gotta like watch the sides. Although
Opens over crest.
it's always really good. Like they're never in the way. Everybody seems to break down perfectly
Caution.
and like have enough fucking sense to go to the side of the road, which is not always possible. That kind of bugs me. I've never had like a car that's broken down like right in my way.
Into
I kind of wish that would happen because that's a bit more believable.
to open hairpin
You know,
right.
you're not always gonna like what if you smash into a tree
Hairpin left.
and you like rip all the wheels off and like you end up in the middle of the stage. Like you're not going anywhere.
Caution 20. 2 right tightens. Into 3 left. Into 3 right. 30. 2 right
There we go.
long. Opens.
Weight transfer is a big
30.
deal. That's something I need to explain.
3
Okay,
left
so
long, tightens,
first you got your weight of the car, and then you have the weight of the forces on your car. And what I mean by that is, you know, things like downforce.
good chance of a win
When
in
you
outside.
brake, your car dips forward, pushing your center of gravity forward, all the weight of the car forward, and the same goes for hitting the gas, except the opposite, where everything goes to the rear of the vehicle. And obviously turning left and right will have their effects. So at any given point, at least two... Oh, dude, nice. What a gamer. So at any given point, there's at least like two things happening to your car all the time. So in order to go fast in the turns, and I mentioned the bank turns because this weight transfer, it obviously it's even more effective because of the way the road sort of leads you. So we'll take a hairpin for example. In order to get around a hairpin, I want to carry enough speed to the beginning of the corner so that I can hit the brakes. Like right here. It's kind of hard because it's like an immediate turn. But you gotta have enough speed going into it that when you start to stop, you load the weight, enough weight to the front of the vehicle to give those front tires enough traction to get around. If there's too much traction on the front tires and you go too fast, you spin out because the rear of the car doesn't have enough weight for the tires to actually do anything. And that's how understeer works as well, except the opposite, when the rear of the car has a lot of traction, but the front tires don't really do anything. That's why whenever you go towards the outside of a turn, and you try to give it more steering input, but like nothing fucking happens, well, like, in a sense, those wheels are kind of just floating there. Yes, they are making contact with the road, but such a small amount in comparison to the rear that they might as well just be floating in the air. Like, you're going wide, you're crashing the car, see you later. So, these twisty sections is very important, especially with a left-right sort of sequence of turns. Where on the exit of the turn, you want to whip the weight around in the opposite direction, so go from right to left, you know, smoothly enough so that the car doesn't get unsettled and want to, like, you know, spin out or do understeer or oversteer or whatever else it might want to do, depending on the vehicle and its characteristics. And you're able to chain these turns together, and that's how you successfully rally. Is by taking these calls, being like, okay, I'm going to do this in order to make the next sequence of turns work. And that's where the challenge comes, because in real life you get like, what, like 2 passes at highway speeds. So you drive a car, you're like 60 to 80 kilometers an hour depending on the road. Your co-driver takes a bunch of notes. You obviously film it so that when you get back to your service center you can review the footage and maybe refine the notes, try to pick up on things you've missed. And then away you go full speed and you try to beat the other guy. By the way, we are racing people, but it's like your time is what matters, not like, as you can see, kind of one car would fit at a time. So we're not like bumper to bumper racing. That's what rallycross is for. We are not doing rallycross right now, so it's all against the clock. Go faster than the other dude. This is essentially like real life speed running. That's what rallying is. A form of it anyways. I suppose like 100-meter dash would be the same. You get what I mean. Oh, I forgot to read chat during the loading screen. I'm sorry, everybody. Uh-oh, we might die. See, that was too fast. And while that turn went okay, the next one didn't. I hit the wall. So it's all a balancing act. You gotta think like, what am I gonna do now is gonna affect the next sequence of turns. It's the same in real racing, or I say real racing, in circuit racing as well. But the margin of error is so much lower because you're doing, you know, the same thing over and over again. So you're able to figure out exactly what to do. Like the main difference between rallying and regular racing, instead of doing the same corner 1,000 times, you do 1,000 corners once. But the principle is still there. You know, the physics of how cars drive physics doesn't change whether you're on the dirt or the asphalt. It's just what you got to do changes.
One right. Opens into 2 left.
And so if you got any more questions, hit them up in chat. For when I do finally read it, I'll be able to answer some of them.
Very long, tightens, opens, don't cut. Into 6 right, don't cut. Into turn 2 left long. Opens, tightens.
Oh, and at the end of the stages, they added a thing in this game where you actually have to like... Normally what would happen in a rally is that you finish your stage and then you drive a little bit ahead and you stop at like a tent where there'll be a guy there that will take your time. Like, you have a little, like, thingamajig in the car that keeps track of the time in the stage. Co-driver does his thing to make sure that's all set up properly. And then he hands the time card to the marshal. So this game kind of incorporates that. But the issue with it is that whenever the stage is over, if you get any sort of off track or like a reset of some sort, so if you hit a spectator, the game kind of just throws a penalty at you and like resets you on the track somewhere. So if you just fucking book it at the end and you hit the time guy, the game will just do that reset fade out. And since the stage is over, the game's just like, well, like, just fuck it, you're done. Like, you have nowhere else to go. We're not going to put you anywhere, so we're just going to end the stage. And if you actually stop for the time guy, it takes an extra, like, 10 seconds. Because you stop, he does this little nod and, like, puts his hands up, like, okay, stop the car. And it takes a bunch of time. So the solution is just to run his ass over. I mean, there's probably stages where it's faster to, like, go off track or hit a spectator or some shit. But 9 times out of 10, the fastest way is just to run over that guy. He's just trying to do his job, but we don't care. We're going to hit his ass.
Opens into 3 left, into 5 right.
Yeah, eyes on the road. I'm figuring that out the hard way. Oh my god, there's a fence there! Who put that there?
5 right of a crest.
Boo. Oh, okay, I guess I'm spinning this way. That's fine. We're back.
And keep left of a crest, into 4 right, into slow, 2 left, tightens, don't cut. Into 3 right of a crest, into unseen, don't cut, 1 left long, tightens.
See, I'm out of those ruts, man.
Keep right of a 30.
All loose gravel over there.
5 left.
Oh, go, 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 go! Classic, I'm in second gear and I need to be in first there. There we go.
Don't cut, 1 right long.
At least I know where I'm gonna go off. Because all the corners I've been crashing at... Actually, that's a lie. 90% of the corners I've been crashing at are places where I struggle anyways.
To 1 right.
Where I usually make a boo-boo. So,
And 5 right of a crest, opens long of a crest.
at least I know how to get out of it.
Slow 4 left long, tightens 1, tightens. Into turn 1 right tightens. Keep left of a 40, 5 right of a crest, very long tightens. Into 4 left long, caution tightens bad. Into 4 right long, opens of a crest, 30. 5 left, tightens of a crest. Into 5 right. Into 3 left tightens. Into cut, 6 right of a crest long. Into slow, turn unseen, open hairpin left, don't cut. Into 6 right of a crest and jump. Slow 20, don't cut, open hairpin right. Opens, keep right of a 30, crest, 3 left long. Opens, into 4 right long, opens of a crest, into 3 left, opens of a crest and jump maybe, over finish, 60. That should be enough.
Alright, so that's all of the long stages done. The short ones are literally just sections of these last 4 stages that I just did. And that's another reason why I like to do the long stages first. Like I said, you can order these however you think is the most advantageous. So, I do those long stages first as sort of like a warm-up, if you will, for the rest of the run. Now, because these stages are shorter, I should be able to, obviously, a good idea would be to change your route before a marathon run and then test it there, which is what we're doing today, by the way. I never said that, but that's what's going on.
Good luck.
Oh yeah, I don't have to wait.
Very long.
I keep forgetting that I can just jump every start, and that's actually how to go faster. Foreign concept to me, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, you know what?
Don't cut.
You know when you don't jump the start is when you're doing the Sunshine Autos Dirt Rally League. If you hit up my stream later today, will be the inaugural season of
Opens
a
into
bunch of
turn
people's fucking
unseen.
shitty attempts
Cut
at their
wide
own
left
rally.
tires.
Wow, that was a good example of the turbo being like 95% of this car's driving force.
Into 2 left.
Like, I just straight up stopped there, but I had my foot to the floor. The car just like, nah, I'm not gonna go today. So that's where being in a lower gear when you're going slow is a
Into turn
thing you
in
have to do,
left of a
so you can
crest.
get that turbo to wake the hell
Opens
up.
long, don't cut, tightens 2. Into cut maybe 4 right. 30. 3 left. Into 3 right. Opens 30. Open hairpin right. Into 3 left. Into 5 right. Into 4 left.
So as I was saying with the route change,
Opens 30.
I just kind of ordered the thing you seem to be wanting to do here that I've kind of come to the conclusion is to get your soft tires to last as long as possible.
Into 4 left.
A couple of things that I don't really like about this game is that they give you as many tires as you want. So for every service you can grab a fresh set of tires, no questions asked. I think normally you would have like a limit
Don't cut.
on how much of each compound you have. At least that would make sense.
Too narrow grid. Opens of a crest.
But not in this game. You can just milk the fastest tire as much as you can. So you kind of just spread your service stations out enough so that you can always use these tires. And it saves like
Cut 4 left.
5 to 10 seconds a stage.
5 right.
Faster the softer tire you have.
Left.
But like I said, the softer the tire, the more they will degrade. So after those 2 long stages, like my tires are toast.
20. Keep right of a crest. Turn unseen.
So now with these shorter stages, I try to put 3 in between each service center instead of... keep saying service center. It's service. It's just service. I want to put the word center there for some reason.
Into 5 left.
So
30. 4 left.
You-
Long tightens.
because that's kind of like the one advantage of timing RTA
Into 2
is
right
that,
tightens.
you know, where you put your services actually kind of matters.
2 left.
Although if you're just milking
Into 4 right.
the highest in-game the lowest in-game time,
Into 6 left long.
then
Into 5 right long. Tightens 3.
you can just put a service in between every stage.
Into 5
Fresh
left,
tires. Here you go, lad. Have fun.
30. 6 left of a crest long. Tightens
So there is a
3.
little more routing
Into
in that
1 right.
regard.
Into don't cut 3
But my
left.
opinion, you know, having,
20.
you know,
6 right.
needing to reset your vehicle, having to change a pop tire, all of that should matter. Kind of adds a little more strategy. Wow, I could have
60
died
over
real
crest
bad
and
there.
Finish. 70 to stop.
I find it adds more, you know, incentive to drive quickly than just
We did really well in
getting
there.
through
Could be a stage
without
win.
consequence, you know? Like, I get away with so much shit because I can just reset the car and lose a instead of like 20 or 30. You pop a tire, you lose a minute, you know? Big reason to not go off of the beaten path and pop a tire. But that's okay. This game has a time trial mode for each stage, so I do get to have my cake and eat it too. I just wish there was an in-game way to time how fast each
Starts
rally
crest, into
completed,
1
but
left, into
whatever.
Caution, 2 right tightens 1.
All
left.
good.
5. Crest into 1 left. Into caution, 2 right. Tightens
So that was a very short stage. That's pretty much the length we're going to be experiencing for the rest of the run now. Each country has 4 long stages and 6 shorter ones. Like I said,
Into 3 right.
just the short ones are just chunks taken out of the aforementioned long ones. So really, there's only 2 stages. Everything else is the same.
Into 1 left.
That kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Like, you kind of only have so much road to work with. Like, realistically.
Into 3 left. Into 1
Because these
right
2 different
tightens.
stages, they're going to be like, you know, a couple, like 50 to 100 kilometers away from each other. You got to go for like a 2 to 4 hour drive just to get to the next stage.
Into 4 right long. Opens 30. 4 right of a crest. Into 2 left.
Uh-oh.
Into
Lock the
1
brakes up
hairpin
there.
right.
Oh, God. We're just going to whip it around here. Yeah, I locked up the brakes. When you lock the brakes up, your wheels no longer turn, and your car stops a lot better when your wheels are actually turning a little bit. Like when you're a kid in the snow and you like slide on your belly down the ice. Granted, you are on ice, but you know if you actually stop on your own accord, like normally, as opposed to just sliding, you're obviously going to stop a lot faster. It's the same principle in a car. Like I said, physics still applies. So, in order to not lock your brakes, you can't just slam on the brakes as hard as you can. Depending on how fast you're going, actually it's more along the lines of how much you're turning your car. The more you turn your car as you brake, the less brake pressure you can get away with using before you lock the wheels. Or spin, or whatever. Well, you spin by locking the wheels. But anyways, so in that specific case, I just hit the brakes too hard. You can hear like the gravel sort of like make a lot of noise because there's like tires just sliding instead of driving over it.
Don't cut, open hairpin left, opens 30, 2 left tightens, into 3 right long, into 3 left long, into 2 right, extra long, opens over crest, into 1 left tightens, into caution, open hairpin right, into 2 left, into 2 right, into 3 left long, into open hairpin.
But also
right
braking while turning is important, because that's how you get weight to the front of the car, and that's how you make the car rotate in whatever direction you're turning a little more easily. And then once you start to oversteer, you do the same with the gas pedal to achieve the same effect. I'm sure there's flaws in my logic. I'm sure there's other people who can explain the fundamentals of driving a lot better than I. I'm only learning. I did shout out the league. League shout out again. Sunshine Autos happening first season starting today. Fucking follow my ass. Or Badoshk. You changed your name and I keep forgetting. And it's been like 6 months. But if you want to see some real rallying where I'm not jumping every start and actually like, you know, it matters when I fly off the track and pop tires, then hit us up. Round 1, like I said, happening today. I have no idea where or what car because we're going to decide like 5 minutes beforehand. But it's going to be full of memes. I can guarantee it. There will be death. We got the iRacing sensation, twitch.tv/ridewag. We have the Ballad of Gay Tony legend, Noslar. That's the only streamers. that's it.
Into 2 right long, tightens don't cut. Opens. Into cut.
PSA's done some GTA 3 running. He's hopefully gonna do it. He might fucking flake on us. PSA, if you're in this chat right now, you better not flake on us. I'm gonna find you. Who else? We got Carl K. Literally Oiktanic. Just not Oiktanic, but like the same everywhere else. He's just gonna fucking mop the floor with all of us. Me and Badoshka, obviously, because like we're the ones trying to fucking pimp it out. Shaddy, are you doing it? Are you in the dirt rally thingy? Do you even have this game? Oh, we got agents that might do it too. We got our Hugo 1 crew supporter here. Agents might do it. Fucking controller boy. I want him to do it. I want to see how well he does with the controller. Because apparently this game drives pretty well with the controller. In comparison to Dirt Rally 1. Dirt Rally 1 wasn't awful. It wasn't great, but like, as far as like, usually the realistic, and I'm doing air quotes here because that's obviously subjective, and I don't actually drive rally cars, so the fuck do I know about how a car drives in the dirt? But the more realistic focused sims usually suck with controllers. Like, you can't do anything. And Dirt Rally 1 was like almost to that point, but doable if you like played with settings enough. Whereas this game seems to work out of the box, which is a good improvement. That's a point for Codemasters on that one. Uh-oh. Too fast, don't hit. Okay, if I hit the rear end of my car on that ridge, well, then it'd probably be worse off than I already am now. Wow, cutting actually worked out there. See what I mean? Sometimes she works out, other times she doesn't. It's not worth the risk 95% of the time. I'm sure my co-driver would be telling me where I can cut and not, but I ain't paying attention enough. Maybe if I shut my mouth for 5 minutes. But we all know that's not going to happen.
Into 5 left and 2 right tightens 1. Into 4 left and 3 right long. Opens over crest through gate. Into 3 right long tightens. Into 4 left.
Oh shit. Alright, that's good.
Into 4 right.
Another thing, probably like the hardest part of rallying for me is like knowing how wide my, or sorry, how long my car is. Because like I'm not actually in the car, I don't really have like a perception of how much vehicle there is at the back end. So when I'm drifting around these tight corridors that they call roads, decent chance I'm just gonna smack the outside brick wall that we see here and not have a good time.
Tightens over crest. Into 1 left. Into 1 right tightens. Into open hairpin left. Into 2 right tightens. Opens long over crest. 30. Open hairpin left. Into 1
Oh,
right.
too fast? Nope. Just enough.
30. 6 left over crest. 30. Open hairpin left. Into 2 right. Into
I think
5
Monka
left,
Gun is
into
literally
3
how
right
Phil
long,
Mills is feeling
finish.
right now.
3 to stop.
How many times have we gone into a tree? Like 7? I'm gonna take out my frustrations on this lad with the camera.
Could be a stage win.
And I put the AI difficulty to the lowest just so I can see what my in-game time is. I know I'll just be at the top. Like, I'm cheating all these starts, and I'm using all these resets, accruing all these penalties, and I'm like 10 minutes ahead. Forgive my raspy voice. I have a lot of phlegm at the start of the day. I don't know what to tell you, boys. Boys and goyles. Come on, repair. Yeah, that was definitely worth that fucking menu. Whatever, I just blindly repair everywhere. Get those brand new soft tires.
Starts 40.
So hopefully, I rearranged the stages a bit because these long twisty ones, I think, wear out my tires more than the other stages. I'm not sure what is worse for the tires. Heavy braking from a high speed, or lots of tight corners where you have to kick the back end out. I would assume the latter of those two things is worse on tires. So I tried to put those stages together. Luckily, the stages with all those turns is also like the shortest distanced stage. And also the way the surfaces kind of work out, instead of like 2 stages, the last 2 stages have their own surface instead of 3. So I put the longest of the shorts there, which also happen to be full of sharp sections as well. So I think those are the worst on the tires. Because the last time I did this, by the time I hit the last stage, like the car, you couldn't turn the car. And when you have bad tires, not only does the turning suck, but the braking sucks, which is probably worse, in my opinion. I think that's just how it is. It's more degrading to slide the tires than to brake heavily under them. But with worse tires, it's awful to brake heavily because you have to stop like double the amount that you're used to. So you're just crashing and shit all the time because you don't know where to stop. you try to compensate and it just doesn't work, and you get frustrated.
Right, 5 left long. Into 4 left tightens.
Remember this tricky section from the beginning? We're doing it again.
30.
See if I can't go a little faster than last time.
Into 4 left long, tightens narrow. 100. 5 left of a bump. Into unseen, 3 right long, opens 30. Keep right, into slight left.
Oh, that could have ended
4
badly.
right. Into 6 left, and 3 left, don't cut to a crest. Turn 2 right long. Opens of a crest. And keep
Ah,
left
there's a
into
rock there.
5 right, small cut.
Today I learned.
30.
I think I hit that rock before, actually. I only saw it like as I was touching it, so
Left long, opens
that's on me.
40. Keep right of a jump maybe into 5 left long.
I didn't want to cut
50.
that much, and I did.
Keep
Paid the
left
price.
into 5 right long. Opens of a jump
Alright, here's the
maybe
hard part.
into 6 left of a jump long.
Bunch of...
Into narrow.
It's a big 6 left with a jump in the middle of it.
Left, extra long.
Sorry, a 5
Opens
left.
keep right of a big jump.
Right here.
Crest. Into
Want to
6
slow down
left
and
long,
not get too much air,
tightens,
so I
70.
can settle the car again. Be able to take this turn without hitting the
Very
fence.
long, 50.
But we're not out of it yet.
6 left, extra
As you can
long.
see, oh, don't hit the outside, perfect. The dirty wall that I was talking about earlier in the run. There we go, that's like the hardest part of the rally in my opinion right there.
Right long. Opens.
Oh, that's a hairpin. Had I been listening to the co-driver, I would have known that.
Into 6 left long, tightens of a crest. Into
So yeah,
5
that
long,
that
tightens,
that right 5 into left 3 is very difficult.
extra long.
So you're fighting the car, you're fighting understeer a little bit, going into the right 5, and if you lose to the understeer, you hit that
Left long,
dirt wall that's to the left,
into
and your car like immediately spins.
70.
And then you have to brake from basically top speed
Left long of a crest, narrow.
to not go wide for the same reason that left 3 has that same dirt wall
Tightens,
waiting for you if you fuck up. So it's not, there's no room for error there.
50. Flat left of a jump, maybe narrow.
There we go, that was a really good stage other than the rock.
Left to stop.
I'll take it. Oh yeah, hitting the time guy is hard here. I usually have to go
Really well
beyond,
there.
because
Could
I
be
always
a stage
forget.
win.
Like when I remembered he was to the inside, it was too late to stop, so I just didn't really bother. Obviously, I'd save a little bit of time had I hit the time guy instead of gone beyond the limits. But that's nitpicking. Very minor issue. I wonder how it looks, because it's like the TV is 4:3, but the game's 16:9, so I'm assuming it's just fucking squished.
Starts 3 left tightens, into 2 right, into 4 left over crest.
So I'd say we're about halfway through now, maybe a little more.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
It says I've been streaming for an hour, but I can't remember how long I was streaming before
Into 5 right.
the run actually started. What does the timer say right now?
50. 6 left, into 6 right, extra long, tightens 3 right.
Shit.
Into 5 left.
Oh, this is also...
Extra
I
long,
take that back. This is actually the hardest stage. That same thing, but going in reverse. At least I think this was the stage I just did. Hold on.
into 6 right.
That's a debatable. That section I just did, very
Slow.
prone
Right.
to going too fast, because it's all downhill. So all of your braking points automatically are shortened, because you have to make up for the fact that you're going faster downhill.
Into
Gravity's
2
working
left.
against you. Oh no, that is the stage I just did. Okay. So
Right long, tightens 150.
this section, this one that I was complaining about, the last stage, it's much easier in this direction, in my opinion, because now we're going uphill. That was another reason why it sucked as well. And you're fighting understeer, because you're going downhill. The car wants to just, all of its body roll is just exaggerated.
Into 5 right of a jump.
Whereas here, you got a little more weight being compressed to the ground. You got a little more rubber on the road.
Slow 4 right long, opens of a
Any
crest.
situation you get yourself in is a little more easily recoverable. Which basically, anytime you go downhill in this game, you're in trouble. Or in this car, I should say, you're in trouble.
Into 2 right.
Hence why that beginning section is so difficult. Oh, look, it's our friend The Rock. We're just gonna drive over it this time. Fuck you, Rock. Suck my dick.
And keep right. right, into 6 left 30.
I'm pretty sure the rock is just kind of like ramped in this direction, so I got away with it pretty
4
easily.
right, don't cut.
Whereas the
50.
other side of the rock is just
3
like
right tightens.
flat. That's my guess.
50. 4 left long, opens of a crest, 50. 3 left tightens.
Yeah, this was the last run attempt I did. I had this stage at the very end, and my tires were just non-existent. I might as well have been driving on rims.
Keep left, into 6 right,
And
6
this is
left.
also the one of the fastest stages, because it has that long section
6 right,
where
into 5 left,
you're
extra
slightly
long,
turning
tightens 4.
beside the knife, the wall of knives.
3 left, into 2 right.
So, obviously, if you don't have any grip and you need to make any adjustments, good luck with that.
Into 3 right, very long.
The wall will probably help you out with that one.
6 right of a crest.
And in this direction, well, I suppose it's the same in the other direction as well, but I feel it a lot more going this way.
70.
Lots of turns where the outside is just a big fall off as well. I'm coming to the realization is that if there's no wall to like fuck me over, it's just a cliff instead. So,
Into 3 left long.
welcome to New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen.
Into
Or a
4
big,
right,
you know,
small
group of
cut.
trees. It's like you need to stay on the road.
4 left long.
Funny
Into
how that
10,
works.
3 right long. 30. 4 right long. Into 4 left. Tightens 3. Into 4 right. Into 3 left long.
Okay, I hit a fucking fence post. I'm tilted, man. And that was like right near the finish, too. I like kiss that fence post. And if anything, the fence is like the most forgiving part of the course as well.
Looking good for a
But
straight win.
even the fence can fuck you, so be careful. I'm not paying attention and skipping the menus. I had like a brain fart there. Alright. So this stage and then a service, and that'll be the last 2. So we got 3 to go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Also, by the way, you can. There's more than just sunshine in this game. There's all sorts of weather,
Good luck.
but the sunshine is the fastest. So we're
5,
gonna obviously make the weather conditions as optimal as possible.
right, into 4 left, into 2 right long.
Coming to think of it, I probably should have incorporated like setting up the rally.
Into 6
but
right of
whatever.
a crest,
I mean,
into
you
1
use
left
common
long,
sense
tightens.
when setting it up. Make everything sunny. Make sure the stage isn't too degraded,
Opens of a crest.
and let her rip.
And 4 left long, tightens toe. Into 1 right. Opens into 2 left. Into 1 right long. Opens into 4 left, very long, tightens. Opens, don't cut. Into 6 right, don't cut. Into turn 2 left long. Opens, tightens 3. Into 3 right, tightens.
So I'm gonna try to stay quiet through the last bit of this run.
Into
Hopefully
1
give you
left,
guys some good
tightens.
stages.
Into 6 right. And keep left into 1 right long. Opens. Into flat left. 30. 5 right long. Opens of a crest. Into 4 left. Into 3 right. Into caution. 4 left long. Tightens 3. Don't cut through narrow gate. Opens. 30. 3 left long tightens. Into 5 right narrow. 2 left tightens. Into 6 right. Into 4 left. Into caution. 5 right long tightens 1. Into 6 left.
And unfortunately, I have no way to really show my pedal inputs. I would have it on screen if I could, but I use a capture card. So that kind of complicates that. So apologies.
Very long.
And this game doesn't have any sort of input thing available.
2 right tightens. Opens. Into 3 left long. Into 4 right. Opens of a crest. into 1 right tightens. Opens, into 3 left, into 5 right, into don't cut 4 left, very long. Opens,
Oh, that fence again.
5 right of a crest, opens long of a crest through narrow grid, and keep left of a crest, into 4 right, into slow, 2 left, tightens, don't cut.
Well, that's a big rock.
Into 3 right of a crest, into unseen, don't cut, 1 left long, tightens. Keep right of a 30, don't cut, 5 left.
Ooh, a little too wide,
Don't cut,
but I'm not
1
off.
long.
So I'll take it.
Opens, into 2 left tightens, into 1 right, opens of a crest, into 3 left, and 5 right of a crest, opens long of a crest, slow 4 left long, tightens 1, tightens. Into turn, 1 right tightens, keep left of a 40, 5 right of a crest, very long tightens. Into 4 left long, caution tightens bad. Into 4 right long, opens of a crest, 30. 5 left, tightens of a crest. Into 5 right. Into 3 left tightens. Into cut, 6 right of a crest long. Into slow turn unseen, open hairpin left, don't cut. Into 6 right of a crest and jump. Slow 20, don't cut, open hairpin right. Opens, keep right of a 30, crest, 3 left long. Opens, into 4 right long, opens of a crest, into 3 left, opens of a crest and jump maybe, over finish, 60.
Now, for reference, you can tune these cars and eliminate some of the handling issues that I'm having.
For a stage win in there.
These cars, well, this car in particular likes to understeer a bit too much to my liking. So you can do stuff like maybe shorten the gears, make the power band happen a little sooner, things like that. But a lot of trial and error goes into tuning and a bunch of settings that I don't know what they do to affect the car, so I would probably just end up making it worse. So until I take the time to learn how to do that, I just drive the car the way it comes out of the box. But I could definitely gain some time if I knew how to tune a car. So these are the last 2 stages of the rally. Like I said, I'll shut up for most of it. See if I can't give you guys a good show. So thanks for having me.
5, 30, crest and 3 left long, and 5 right long, 30. 3 right, into 2 left, into 2 right, extra long, tightens cut, opens, 6 right, into 3 left long, opens of a crest, 100, turn unseen, 2 left tightens, 30, 2 right long, opens 50, crest and don't cut, 1 left long, unseen, 30, 6 right long, 80, slow 4 left of a crest into 1 right, tightens don't cut, 60, 4 left, into 6 right of a crest, into 1 left tightens, 50, flat middle of a crest, 150, 1 right long, into 2 left, into 3 right, into 3 left long, tightens 2, into 1 right long, opens 6, into 2 left long, 30, 1 left, and 1 right long, opens flat of a crest, 80, 5 left, extra long of a crest, a jump maybe, into 6 right, 30, small cut, 5 left of a crest bump, 50, 6 right long.
That guy almost got his shit kicked in.
50, 2 left
I would have been mad
tightens.
if I got reset there. I would have killed all my momentum.
30, small cut, 3 left, into 5 right long, 160. Keep left of a crest.
It's funny too because I can turn that off, but I just forgot.
6 right long of a crest tightens, into 5 left long of a crest tightens, and 6 right, into 6 left long,
Monka
tightens
S.
forward of a crest, into slow, 1 right long, don't cut, into 2 left long, into 2 right long, into 6 left 30, keep middle of a crest, slow 30, crest and turn 2 right, 30, flat crest and 6 right, extra long of a crest, 30, 6 left, 50, flat right, 100, 3 right long, opens and tightens, 50, turn 2 left long, into 2 right long, opens of a crest, 50, crest and 2 left, small cut, into 5 right long, into 6 left, 50, 5 right, and 4 left long, tightens of a crest, to crest, into 3 right long, opens, 80, flat middle of a crest, 80, slow, keep right into narrow, 6 left long, 50, turn 1 left, don't cut, 50, 4 right long, 100, flat middle of a crest, 150, slow, 6 left into turn, 1 left cut, 50, 5 left long, into 6 right, extra long, 60, flat long crest, 30, 60, flat long crest.
I always let up a bit at the end of this stage, so I kind of like forget that there's the finish line, and I think there's some sort of turn coming up. Alright, this is it, ladies and gents. The last stage. Aries, if you're around, get ready on time at the end of this stage. When I run over the time guy is when the timer stops. Not the finish line, but when the screen fades to black after I yeet on the time dude.
Starts 120, 6 left, extra long, tightens over crest, jump.
I will also scream time or something along those lines. It'll be real obvious.
120 over long crest, 6 left, extra long, tightens of a jump, into 4 right. Slow 30, turn cut 2 right, opens
Uh-oh.
250.
Come on, turn, buddy.
Flat middle of a narrow crest,
Definitely feel the wear on the tires.
80. 4 left, don't cut, slow 50, turn 1 right. Opens 70. 6 right, into 6 left long, 150. 3 left long, opens of a crest, into 3 right long, tightens. Into 4 left, 60. 6 right, into 5 left, tightens. Into 3 right, tightens. 30. 5 left long, tightens 2. 30. Turn 3 right, tightens. 50. 4 left, extra long, tightens. 150. flat left, flat right over crest long, 30, flat left, slow 6 left over crest, 30, turn 1 left, 120.
That's the wrong way. I turned to the outside of the corner to try to fling the car to the left, and was too hard on the brakes as I was flinging to the right, so the car kind of just locked up and slid in that direction. But I'm glad it did, because I wouldn't have made it otherwise. I would have smashed into the fence. These tires are more worn than I thought. At least my braking is like crappier than I thought. The car handles okay. I made the right choice, changing up the stages for sure.
Extra long of a crest, 50. Keep right of a crest, 140. Slow, 5 left tightens into 3 right long. Into don't cut, 4 left. Into 4 right long, tightens, 30. Flat left, and keep right into 6 left long. 50. 6 right, small cut. 30, 6 left long, into 6 right of a crest, extra long, to slow crest, and 6 left long, tightens 1, tightens, 40, 1 right long, 50, 3 right long, into 5 left long, tightens 2.
Oof. That could have been worse.
Into 2 right long, opens 6 long, into 4 left, into slow 4 right, and 1 left long, tightens. 50. Flat crest, 50. Keep left over crest, 30.
Ignore the shadow
right
flickering.
long.
Totally how shadows work.
Into 5
It's
left
fine.
over crest. Into 3 right long, 80. 1 left long, 30. Crest and 6 right, 50. 5 left long, into unseen, 1 right tightens. Opens long, 50.
Oh, that was a 1. That's why it's not
Left,
fucking turning.
tightens of a crest. 30. Turn unseen, 2 right. Opens 100. Crest and 3 right long. Into 3 left long. Tightens 1 long. Tighten small cut. Into 1 right.
All right, time's coming up.
Opens of a crest, 40, 5 left, and 3 right of a crest, of a finish.
And time.
Champions, we deserve it.
We're champions! Hooray! There you go. That's Dirt Rally 2 for you, ladies and gentlemen. If I was a good marathon runner, I would know what's coming up next without, you know, having to look. But I don't. So whoever's up next, get her done. Good luck. Thanks to NASA administration for letting me do a speed run in space. The lack of oxygen kind of sucks, but other than that, I'm having a good time. Follow me, follow Badoshk for the inaugural round, I can pronounce words, of the Sunshine Autos Dirt Rally League. Season 1, starting today. I think that's everything I need to shout out. Give everybody your money. Not everybody. Give NASA, everybody at NASA your money, so I can not pay as much. So I can go get drunk at a hotel room with my friends. I think that's everything. You can cut me off now. Thank you very much for having me.